There is a house on County Road 14, 3 miles north of Millersburg, that has not run an air conditioner in 42 years. The family inside raised 6 children through every August heat wave Ohio could throw at them, and their electric bill in July averages $31. The house stays below 75 degrees all summer long, without a single powered cooling device. And the secret is not what you think. My name is Sam Beachy. For 30 years I built houses in Holmes County, Ohio, beside men raised Amish. I write down what they taught me before it's lost. And what I'm about to show you is one of them. Most people believe air conditioning is the only answer to summer heat. They believe you either pay the electric company or you suffer. And the electric company is perfectly happy to let you keep believing that. Because the average central air system in this part of the country pulls 4,000 watts when it runs, and in July and August it runs about 8 hours a day, at 12 cents per kilowatt hour. That is $3.84 per day. Over a 90-day summer, that is $345 just to cool the air, every single year. The Amish families I worked beside for 3 decades do not pay that bill. They do not pay any of it. And it is not because they sit in the heat, fanning themselves with straw hats. Their houses are genuinely comfortable, and the system they use is so simple and so old that nobody sells it anymore because there is nothing to sell. You cannot put it in a box. You cannot charge a monthly service fee. You cannot break it and sell the repair. What I'm about to show you is a whole house ventilation discipline that costs you nothing after the first weekend, keeps your house cooler than most air-conditioned homes, and makes you completely independent of the power grid for cooling. By this Saturday evening, you will understand exactly how to flush the heat out of your house every night, how to block the sun before it ever touches your walls, and why the Amish have been sleeping comfortably in July for 200 years while the rest of us write checks to the utility. The whole thing turns on one fact about air that nobody told you in school, and once you see it, you will never think about your house the same way again. Stay with me. Do not skip ahead. What I'm about to show you works in any climate, in any house, and it has kept families cool since long before electricity existed. Here is what most people get wrong about heat. They think heat comes from the air outside. They think if it is 95 degrees outside, then the inside of the house will eventually reach 95 degrees. And the only way to stop that is to run a machine that forces the air back down. That is not how it works. Heat does not come from the air. Heat comes from the sun hitting your roof, your walls, your windows, and turning into infrared radiation that soaks into every solid surface inside your house. Your drywall drinks it up. Your furniture drinks it up. Your floors drink it up. And then for the next 12 hours, those surfaces radiate that heat back into the air inside, long after the sun goes down. That is why your house feels hottest at 9 o'clock at night, 3 hours after sunset. You are not feeling the air outside. You are feeling yesterday's sunshine coming back out of your walls. The Amish figured this out 200 years ago, and the solution has 2 parts, both of which you can do yourself. Part 1, do not let the heat into the house in the first place. Part 2, if any heat does get in, flush it out the same night before it can soak into anything. Let me tell you about Jonas Yoder, a man I framed houses with for 11 years. Jonas lived in a 2-story farmhouse built in 1897. No insulation in the walls, no air conditioning, no powered fans of any kind. I worked in that house one August afternoon when it was 93 degrees outside, and I will tell you it was cooler inside his kitchen than it was inside my own living room at home. And I had central air running. I asked him how that was possible. He walked me outside and pointed at the south side of the house. Every single window had a canvas awning stretched out at a 45-degree angle, mounted about a foot above the window frame. He said, "The English put shade inside the house. We put shade outside the house." Then he walked me to the north side and showed me 2 windows propped wide open on the ground floor and 2 more propped open on the second floor directly above them. He said, "At night, the cool air comes in low and the hot air goes out high. In the morning, we close them before the sun comes up. The house does not heat up because the heat never gets in." That is the entire system. It sounds too simple to work, but I want you to understand the physics, because once you see the numbers, you will realize this is not folk wisdom. This is thermodynamics. Sunlight carries about 1,000 watts of energy per square meter when it hits the ground. A typical window is about 1 square meter. If the sun shines directly through that window for 6 hours, that is 6,000 watt-hours of energy pouring into your house, turning into heat. 6,000 watt-hours is 6 kilowatt-hours. That is 72 cents worth of heat per window per day at 12 cents per kilowatt-hour. If you have 10 windows facing south and west, that is $7.20 worth of heat entering your house every single day, and your air conditioner has to pull all of that back out. Now, if you mount an awning or a porch roof that blocks the sun before it touches the glass, that heat never enters. The awning itself heats up, but it is outside, and the wind carries that heat away. You have just saved your air conditioner $7.20 of work every day for free. Jonas's awnings were homemade, canvas stretched over a wooden frame, and mounted on hinges so he could fold them up in winter. You can buy the same thing today. A retractable window awning, 6 feet wide, costs about $89 at any home improvement store. You mount it with 4 lag bolts. It takes 20 minutes per window. If you do the south-facing windows and the west-facing windows, that is probably 6 windows on a typical house. 6 awnings, $89 each. That is $534 one time. Let me show you what that saves. If blocking the sun saves you $7.20 per day over a 90-day summer, that is $648 per summer. Your awnings pay for themselves in the first year, and then every year after that, you simply do not pay that part of the cooling bill ever again. But the awnings are only half of it. The other half is the night flush. Here is what happens in most American houses. The sun goes down. The air outside drops to 70 degrees, but inside, the walls and floors are still radiating heat from the afternoon, so the inside air stays at 82 degrees all night long. People close their windows because they are afraid of bugs or noise, or because they have been told that closing the house keeps the cool in. But there is no cool to keep in. The house is still hot. The Amish do the opposite, and so should you. The moment the outside air drops below the inside air, you open every window in the house, not halfway, all the way. You create a path for the air to move through. Cool air comes in through the low windows on the north side. Hot air goes out through the high windows on the south side. This is not a breeze you hope for. This is convection. Hot air is lighter than cold air, so it rises. If you give it a path, it will leave. Fast. I tested this in my own house 3 years ago. I mounted a thermometer in the hallway upstairs and another one in the basement. At 9 o'clock on a July evening, it was 71 degrees outside, 81 degrees in the basement, and 84 degrees upstairs. I opened the basement windows on the north side and the bedroom windows on the south side, all the way. Within 40 minutes, the basement was 73 degrees and the upstairs was 75 degrees. The house had flushed 10 degrees of heat in less than an hour, with no fan, no power, nothing. If I had left those windows closed and run the air conditioner instead, the AC would have pulled about 3 kilowatt hours to drop the house those 10 degrees. That is 36 cents. It does not sound like much until you do it every single night, for 90 nights. That is $32.40, just for the night cooling, on top of everything else. Now add the awning savings and the night flush savings together. $648 from blocking the sun, $32 from flushing the heat at night. That is $680 per summer. Over 10 years, that is $6,800. Over 30 years, that is $20,400. And the only thing you bought was $534 worth of canvas and a habit of opening your windows at the right time. The air conditioning industry has known about passive ventilation and solar shading since the 1930s. There are government manuals from the Department of Agriculture published in 1938 that explain awning geometry and cross-ventilation in detail. But nobody builds houses that way anymore, and nobody sells awnings that way anymore, because awnings do not break. They do not need service calls. They do not need refrigerant. They do not need a licensed technician. You buy them once, you mount them once, and they work for 20 years. There is no subscription model for shade. Before we go any further, I want to mention something. What I just showed you is one of the skills from a book I put together called the Amish Playbook: Pest and Home, Heating and Energy, Food Preservation, Water Harvesting, each one with the exact materials, the exact costs, and what it saves you every single year. And here's my favorite part. Every new skill I teach on this channel gets added to your copy at no charge. You buy it once and it grows for life. It costs less than a single service call, and the link is sitting right below this video. All right, back to work. Now let me give you the 3 other pieces that make this system complete, because awnings and night flushing will get you most of the way there. But if you want a house that stays below 75 degrees all summer without any powered cooling, you need to understand 3 more things: how heavy materials hold the nights cool, attic venting, and the morning close. First, heavy materials. This is the reason old Amish farmhouses stay cool and new suburban houses cook. Any thick, heavy material absorbs heat slowly and releases it slowly. Stone, brick, concrete, thick plaster. The old farmhouses were built with limestone foundations, brick chimneys, and plaster walls over wooden lath. Those materials soak up the cool night air and hold on to it all through the next day. A modern house is built with drywall over fiberglass insulation over plywood. Drywall is thin. It heats up fast and cools down fast. It has no thermal memory. So even if you flush the house at night, by 10 in the morning the walls are already hot again. You cannot rebuild your walls, but you can add mass where it matters. The simplest way is to leave your basement floor bare concrete, instead of covering it with carpet or laminate. Concrete is slow. If you flush cool night air down into the basement, the concrete will stay cool until noon the next day, and that cool air will drift back upstairs as the day heats up. Another trick: if you have a stone or brick chimney running up through the center of the house, do not cover it with drywall. Leave it exposed. That chimney is a thermal battery. It will absorb the cool of the night and give it back during the heat of the day. Second, attic venting. Your attic is the hottest part of the house in summer because heat rises and because the sun beats down on the roof all day. If you do not vent that attic heat to the outside, it will soak down through your ceiling into the rooms below. You want 3 kinds of vents working together: gable vents, ridge vents, and soffit vents. So the air flows through the attic on its own. It is how every old Amish farmhouse breathes. and it is how I have vented every house I have owned. Hot air exits at the ridge. Cool air enters at the soffits. The attic never gets a chance to become an oven. You can check your own attic right now. If you do not have vents at both the top and the bottom of the attic space, you need them. A gable vent costs about $12. A ridge vent costs about $2 per linear foot. Installing them is a weekend project. You cut the holes, you mount the vents, and you never think about it again. If your attic has proper venting, the temperature up there will be only 10 or 15 degrees hotter than the outside air. If your attic does not have proper venting, it will be 40 or 50 degrees hotter than the outside air, and all of that heat will sink into your house. Third, the morning close. This is the part nobody tells you, and it is the reason most people try night flushing once and then give up. They open the windows at night, the house cools down, and then they leave the windows open all day because they think more airflow is always better. It is not. Once the sun comes up and the outside air starts heating up, you need to close the house immediately, before the outside air gets warmer than the inside air. If you leave the windows open, you are now pulling hot air into a cool house, and you are undoing everything you did the night before. Jonas told me, we close the house at dawn. We do not open it again until dusk. The house stays dark, stays closed, stays cool. That is the discipline. Night flush, morning close. It is not complicated, but it is a habit, and habits take practice. Now let me correct one myth, because I want you to trust this system, and I want you to understand its limits. Some people say that if you open your windows at night in a humid climate, you will let moisture into the house, and everything will feel sticky and miserable. That is half true. If you live in a place where the night air is humid, yes, you will bring some moisture in. But moisture is not the enemy. Moisture plus heat is the enemy. A house at 74 degrees and 60% humidity feels fine. A house at 84 degrees and 60% humidity feels like a swamp. The night flush drops the temperature, and that makes the humidity tolerable. If you cannot tolerate any humidity at all, then you will need a dehumidifier, and that does use some power. But a dehumidifier pulls about 300 watts, and it does not need to run all day. It runs for 2 or 3 hours in the morning to pull out the moisture, and then you are done. 300 watts for 3 hours is 0.9 kilowatt hours, about 11 cents per day. That is still 90% cheaper than running central air. Let me give you the bigger picture here, because this is not just about saving money. This is about what happens to a person when they realize they can make themselves comfortable without being plugged into a system. The average American family spends about $1,200 per year on air conditioning. Over a 30-year mortgage, that is $36,000. That money does not buy you a house. It does not buy you land. It does not buy you anything you can pass on. It buys you cold air, and the moment you stop paying, the cold air stops. The Amish system costs you $534 one time, and after that it costs you nothing but the habit of opening and closing windows. You are not renting comfort. You own it. And here is the part that nobody talks about. When the power goes out, the air conditioning stops. When the grid goes down, the house becomes unlivable in about 4 hours. I have seen this happen. I have walked through suburban neighborhoods after a summer storm, knocked out power for 3 days, and people were sitting on their front porches at 10 o'clock at night because their houses were too hot to sleep in. The Amish houses on the next road over were fine. The people inside were fine, because their comfort was never dependent on the grid in the first place. That is what this is really about. Independence. The ability to say, I do not need to call anyone. I do not need to write a check. I can handle this myself. Here is your weekend action plan. I want you to do 3 things. 1. Walk around the outside of your house and identify every window that faces south or west. Those are the windows where the sun hits hardest. Measure them. Go to the home improvement store and price out retractable awnings. If you can only afford to do 2 or 3 windows this year, start with the biggest ones. Total cost, about $90 per window. 2. Go up into your attic and check for vents. You need vents at the top, at the ridge or gable, and you need vents at the bottom, in the soffits. If you do not have both, add them. A gable vent is $12. A ridge vent is about $2 per foot. You can install them yourself with a circular saw and a drill. 3. This Saturday night, when the sun goes down and the outside air drops below the inside air, open every window in your house, all the way. Low windows on the north side, high windows on the south side. Let the house flush. Then, Sunday morning, as soon as the outside air starts warming up, close everything. Keep the house dark and closed all day. See how it feels? That is your weekend. About $534 in materials if you do all the south and west windows, or as little as $90 if you start with 1. And then, every summer after that, you pay nothing. By next Saturday evening, you will be sitting on your porch watching the sun go down, and you will feel the cool air start to move through your house. And you will know that you are not paying anyone for that. You made it happen. You own it. Next time, I am going to show you what the Amish do about water independence, which involves a cistern, a hand pump, and one material you would never guess that keeps the water cold all summer and keeps it from freezing all winter. The people who built this country with their hands knew things we are only just starting to remember. If today saved you money, know that this is just one skill of many. The Amish Playbook holds dozens more in the same spirit as this one. Pest and home, heat and energy, food preservation, water harvesting, each with the exact materials, the exact costs, the time it takes, and what it saves you every year, plus a season-by-season plan to work through. It costs less than a single service call, and it's yours for life. The link is sitting right below this video. Now tell me in the comments where you live and what you're dealing with at your place. I read everyone, and the questions people ask down there usually become the next video. If this saved you money today, hit subscribe, because there's always another skill on the way. The people who built this country with their hands knew things we're only just starting to remember. I'll see you next Sunday.